Mdntv, the podcast. Be abreast with now. Never miss a thing with Mdntv, the podcast. We love to keep you in the present with diverse goodies from secular and non-secular subjects of global interest. Join us. Grab more from these series. Listen to our podcasts. The undeniable choice.
It's sundown. The day has just begun. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Yes, this is MDN Shows Running with the Times, only on Mdntv, the podcast. And I am Major Daughter. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all our listeners and viewers around the world. Meet us in the comments. We are live there. Engage, share this podcast, share this broadcast. Tell your friends to tell their friends. It's happening now. Tell you what, today we're talking about having the right mindset for success. 2023 is around the corner, is in few days' time. Are you going to make or break your business in 2023? Maybe that's more relevant. So today is all about having the right mindset for your business, for your career, maybe as a professional, because this doesn't just apply on the business. It applies to all spheres of life. And I really want to make that clear. Have you prepared for the year? How prepared are you for the year? Well, my guest is going to help us have that very right mindset on how to fare in our careers, fare in our businesses, fare in our lives, in our relationships next year, right now. If you have not started thinking about it, the new year is few days away. It's just few days away. Let me tell you about some of the striking things about my guest, and which is something that you really need to pay attention to. He's a trader. Well, we know that there are those who chase the market. Some people have chased the markets this year. Are you going to continue chasing the markets next year? Or are you going to change your game? One of the things that we're really going to put our hearts and minds on is the psychology or the science behind success. My guest will help us navigate all that. So he's a trader, he's an investor, he's an author. The list just goes on. And I know there's some people who have been very much into trading, and they chase the markets most of the times. Well, you want the wealth, you want the health, you want the happiness. This is your show. Join right after this.
Mdntv, the podcast. Be abreast with now. Never miss a thing with Mdntv, the podcast. We love to keep you in the present with diverse goodies from secular and non-secular subjects of global interest. Join us. Grab more from these series. Listen to our podcasts. The undeniable choice.
The undeniable choice indeed for today is Anmol Singh. Look, we are privileged and honored to host you, sir, and to have you talk to us really today. You have made your name as a high-paid consultant in trading, in investing industry. I mean, that alone is something to write home about. But let me take this opportunity to give you time to really greet our listeners and viewers around the world and tell them who is Anmol Singh and how did you really get started in your journey as a trader and an investor. Anmol?
Perfect. Thanks for having me. And my journey started off in my dorm room in college where, you have a nice degree, but you're not able to find a job. So you decide, okay, I need to figure something out. I need to, do something on my own since I'm not getting the job the traditional way. So, I think every boy, every man growing up, you get interested in the stock market. You get interested in Wall Street. You hear about all the money. So the same thing there, I was really fascinated about it. And in my dorm room, I had no choice but to start my own career. So I started learning about the stock market, how they work, how they move. And I really got interested in that. And ever since then, I've been doing that since I was 18. So I've had no other jobs or anything else. Since college, I've been doing that. And now I'm on my 12th year as a professional stock market trader and investor. And I also wrote the book, Prepping for Success, which is 10 Keys for Making It in Life. It's all about mindset and psychology and nothing to do with the stock market.
Yeah, we'll come to the mindset. And you are involved in various ventures, including franchise stores, but you're also an angel investor. You fund startups. You fund startup companies.
Yeah, that's correct. So so I was just saying, that's one of the other things that I do is invest in early stage startup companies, just like Shark Tank you might watch. So just investing in those early stage companies.
What inspired you to go for this dream, and why this particular dream?
I think two great reasons. One of them, I'm not going to lie, there's money to be made.
Yes.
If you are early in the company and you do well, the company eventually becomes public and becomes into a stock, then there's a lot of potential to make money, more than what you can even in the stock market. But the second reason is it gives me a good fulfillment, right? Because not only am I just putting money and numbers moving up and down, I'm actually helping somebody build a brand new business, grow a new business. One day could become the next Uber or the next Facebook, and they're employing a lot of people. So it's also a passion project. I feel really good about when I'm investing in new entrepreneurs, because one day when I was starting out, I was just a beginning entrepreneur also, right? So helping others is such a great thing. It makes me feel better about the direction that I'm going.
Yes, incredible. You are also considered a leading expert in trading psychology. Would you like to tell us about that? I mean, when this show started, I talked about people who chase the markets, but we also have folks who've been buying the dips. I'm sure there's something you can tell us about that. Are they ever going to have an opportunity to now start eventually selling the dips? I mean, some people have been buying the dips all their lives since last year. And I mean, can we even still call them dips? Anmol?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with trading psychology is having a plan and not getting influenced by emotions. Because I think a lot of people, the mistake they make with the market or cryptocurrencies is they don't have a plan. They're just like buying and holding. But they don't realize that the money is not made by holding. The money is made when you actually sell something. So you need to have a well-defined plan. It's okay to buy the dips, but then you also have to sell it, the rips, right? When it actually goes up.
Yes.
Because if you never sell and you just keep buying, then, well, what are you doing? You're just putting money into something that's considerably going down. So everything has cycles. They go up and down, but you have to be selling in order to buy the dip. You can't just keep buying and holding on and hoping that something happens. So I think having a well-defined plan is really important, and not getting influenced by your emotions. No, this is going to come back up. It's going down. You buy more. It's going to come back. You buy more. And it just keeps going down. Now you're losing more and more and more money. So the first thing to do is, when you're found yourself in a hole, is to stop digging. If you have a loss, stop putting more money into a losing trade. So I think that's one of the important things people need to keep in mind, is controlling their emotions, not being greedy, right? I think that happened a lot in cryptocurrencies, is people were so greedy. It went up to 70,000. They're not selling, and now they're still holding. They're still buying the dip. But it wouldn't have been so much better if you just sold it and you bought it back. So controlling your emotions, looking at the charts, looking at the technicals, making your decisions based upon that, and not being influenced by the emotions, and having a plan to buy the dip, not just buy every dip blindly.
Oh, wait. You talk about a plan, and this is where I'm going to really want to put you on the spot. how does that plan look like? You say buy the dips and sell the rips, but also you say it's wrong to just be holding on all the way, controlling your emotions. You say that is also very, very important, and it plays a major role. How does that play out in you have students who are live traders, right? And here we're talking both crypto and the markets, who trade on the markets and are not really on the crypto. But it applies everywhere, because the same psychology you talk about also applies on the business sector, applies on the relationship sector, applies on the life of a professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, 100%.
Yes. How does the plan look like?
So the plan would be first determining, are you really interested in the markets? Do you really want to learn about it? And do you really want to be involved in it? Because there's two types of people, right? One type of person, he already has another job, he already has another business, he doesn't have time to look at the markets, study the markets, and really do this professionally. So for those people, it's just best to, not even look at anything. Don't try to pick which stock is going to be better. Don't try to pick a cryptocurrency. Just put the money in the market. So in the US, we have the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, and other countries, there's other markets, right? So you just put your money in the markets every month. Don't look at it. And that's a great approach for people who are, have another job. They don't have the full time, because eventually in the long enough time frame, if you look at 10-year average, you'll always end up making money. Roughly 8 to 10% per year is what you're going to end up making. And that's a great way to grow your money. Now, that's for somebody who doesn't have time looking at the markets. Now, there's some people who really want to learn how to do this, right? They want to become professionals. They study this art. And we have more time to look at the screens. So what we do is we look at technicals only based on the chart patterns. Looking at the technical charts, we have certain strategies that, okay, if this breaks this little strategy, we're going to sell, we're going to get out. And then when it goes down to a level, which we call an area of demand or an area of support, where we get the markets come down 30, 35%, now you can buy it back, and then you can ride it back up again. And then you have to be willing to take profits when it's turning the corner again. So there's two types of people. So first you have to decide, who are you? Are you somebody with a job, somebody with a business? You just want to do this on the side? If so, just put your money in the market. Don't touch it. Forget about it. And don't be worried about selling or anything else. But if you're somebody like me, you have more time, then we learn, we study, and we create a plan. A plan would incorporate, when do I want to buy? When do I want to sell if I'm right? So let's say I'm right on my choice. When do I want to sell? You got to know that before you take the trade or investment, right? And also, when do I sell if I'm wrong? Let's say I'm wrong, the stock's going down. When do I get out? So those three things you need to know before. When am I getting in? Where am I getting out if I'm right? Where am I getting out if I'm wrong? And if you have that already, then there's no emotions. You just follow that written plan. This is what happens for me to get out.
Mind-blowing. So simple, yet it may be difficult to really implement that, because having to think of it, when do I want to buy? When do I want to sell if I'm right? It takes a lot of psychology and science for one to really agree with themselves, and which is one of the biggest challenges, where people are very indecisive. They can't really decide. And on the markets and on crypto, it also matters. The timing is everything. What will you say to somebody like that? Also in relationships and in business, really.
Yeah, I think timing is really important in everything, right? I mean, you take a look at social media apps that are coming out. Who made it? Facebook made it, right? Twitter made it. But now newer ones that are coming out, social media apps, they're going to have a much harder time, right? Because the timing, it's a bit late. Whereas Facebook and Twitter were timed perfectly. Now, what if you were too early? So let's say MySpace came, High Five, there used to be Orkut, other social medias that were even there before Facebook. They did not make it. Why? Because at that time, internet wasn't as popular for them to make it. So the timing was perfect for Facebook and Twitter. Now, for newer people, it's much harder because it's late. So the same thing applies to business. Same thing applies to timing in your stock market, and also to, in relationships. A lot of times I've heard, for example, people who are getting into relationships now or before COVID, they've had really good relationships. But a lot of the relationships people have during COVID haven't really worked out the way they thought. Right? So timing is everything.
And talking about relationships, I mean, this is mind blowing. We've also seen a lot of divorces take place and breakups and separations during COVID. But we also saw people come together during that time. We also saw people really come together and work on their relationships and come out. Some came out really strong. What could have been the cause now that you talk about timing? Could it be that some people were just not used to being locked down or locked up with one person forever or being in one place? What could have contributed? Anmol?
I think 100% what you just said is because when you're in a relationship in a normal environment, pre-COVID, let's say, right? You have a job, maybe your wife, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, they also have their job. You're both working. You're both not seeing each other all day long. And then you see each other at, maybe in the evening, you get together, you have dinner, or you have a good time. And that is pretty good. You have limited time, which is quality time. Now imagine both of them are working from home, right? And now you're seeing each other all the time. So most people don't think about their relationship. They get into the relationship because of convenience. And, it's good to have somebody around. It feels good. So a lot of people got into the relationship, but they didn't reevaluate what their values really are and if their values actually match to their partner. And COVID brought that to the forefront because now you're both stuck at home, right? If your values don't match, you're gonna fight, you're gonna argue, and it's gonna cause issues with the relationships.
Yes. Whew. That's a hard one. Look, I want to veer off a little bit and come back to investing. You're an angel investor. If one is out there listening and thinking, how do I get to that level? How do I even get started? How does one raise themselves as an investor where they're looking into helping others? Because I do believe, and it's also said that you grow and by lifting others. What will be your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if somebody wants to become a trader or an investor, the first thing, as I was describing earlier, is to determine how much time can I devote to learning this, right? Because you have to learn it. It's just like any other business, any other profession, any other career. You have to learn. You have to spend some time learning about it. So do you have time? So you ask yourself the question, do I have time to spend a few hours every day learning this, right? And more than that, do I really have the passion? Like, am I genuinely interested and curious about learning the stock market? Or is it just the money, right? Like, everybody wants the money, but the problem is when it gets hard, the people who just want the money, they don't make it through the hard environment, right? Whereas people, let's say like me, even if we have a tough time or a hard environment, because we genuinely are interested in the markets, we love it. It's so fascinating. It's so curious. Then we can handle the tough times. So first things first, forget the money. Does the market actually interest you? Are you genuinely interested? And number two, how much time can I give to it, right? And number three, you decide, do I want to become a short-term trader and investor where we're getting in and out every week? Or do I want to become a long-term investor, build something that lasts me forever? So these are the three questions first people need to ask themselves, right? And then the fourth thing that people need is an open mind, a willingness to learn, because this is something new. No matter what you know about the stock market, you have to forget about it all and then start from scratch. And, we have a lot of resources on our website, LiveTraders.com, where people can actually genuinely come in and read tons of free resources. We have hours and hours of lectures and blog posts. They're all free on the website that they can watch and learn from.
Yes. And here's what I'm going to say. It's been a challenging 2 years. Are there people still making money on the markets and on crypto? Are we still in a time where there are people who are scoring it? Though others are crying, they probably didn't plan well. So 100%. If there are people...
I think...
Yes.
Sorry. So what we were saying in the beginning of the show, right? When people are chasing. So the only people who are not happy right now are the people who were chasing. They bought it way too late, right? If somebody bought Bitcoin at $100 or $1,000 or even $5,000, they're still up money on their investment, right? So the people who are only losing or crying are the people who were chasing it because they didn't understand cryptocurrencies. They only bought because it was going up. and everybody was buying, so let me buy. That's not a strategy. So one thing we teach in trading is like, hope is not a strategy, right? If you're hoping something goes up, hope is not a strategy. So.
Wait, you say hope is not a strategy. What is hope then if it's not a strategy?
Hope is just you convincing yourself something's going to happen, and you're just, I call it, hope is good to have in other areas of your life. It's good to have hope in your personal life and your development. But it's definitely not a strategy. It's just something to make you feel better.
In a normal language that everyone will understand, what do you think are some of the mistakes that young traders and investors in particular are making out there right now?
I think pretty much everything we talked about is like not understanding what they're buying, not understanding what they're buying, which stock they're buying, and having no understanding of why they're buying it, right? Most people buy stocks because they read something online, on Reddit, on Twitter. Their friends are buying something. They read something on the news. Oh, wow, everybody's buying this, so maybe I should buy it. So they buy because of the fear of missing out, right? They have FOMO. They want to buy things just for that reason, which is not a strategy, as always, right? You're just listening to people. And also ask yourself the question, like, the people who are listening, you are listening to, are they successful? Are they where you want to be, right? If they're so successful, then how much money are they making? So ask who you're taking advice from, number one. Don't take advice from your just average everybody around your world, because everybody has advice, right? But good advice and there's bad advice. So you really have to determine that and not get caught up in your emotions. Don't let your investment decisions be based on how you feel something's going to happen, because your feel, honestly, the market doesn't care about how you feel, right? Market's going to do what the market's going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be ruthless. The market doesn't care about me. Market doesn't care about anybody. Even if you're a hedge fund manager from Goldman Sachs, or you're just an average daily person, market does not distinguish between any of us. So our hope, our feeling, what we feel is going to happen with a stock or a cryptocurrency has no bearing on the market. So that's why I think a strategy, a plan is required. And people like me, we work and we study hard to put these strategies in place. So how do you expect somebody with no strategy to compete with us, right? Because anytime you're buying a cryptocurrency, there's somebody on the other side selling it to you. Either he's going to be right or you're going to be right.
Whew. Anmol, 2023 is around the corner. What are your predictions on the markets, on crypto, on business, on life in general, for those who wants to make it and not break the year?
I think 2023, not to cause doom and gloom, I think it's going to be a very tough year for a lot of people. I think markets have already been down a lot, right? Cryptocurrencies are down 80, 90%. The stock market even is down 35, 40%. I think next year is going to be one of those periods that tests everybody, where we're not maybe going to go down that much, but we're not going to really go up either. It's going to be one of those periods where money is just sitting there and it's not going up, it's not going down. And it's going to test a lot of people. A lot of people are going to lose jobs next year. It's already happening this year. Amazon's fired a lot of employees. Facebook's fired a lot of employees. Twitter's fired pretty much all of their employees. So it's going to continue until next year. A lot of people will lose their jobs. A lot of people, especially those who are older, closer to retirement, because the stock market's so down, they're not going to be able to get that money. So it's going to be very tough. But that also creates opportunity, because things always are cyclical. They always get better. So 2023, for those who are prepared and understand how things function and how things work, it's going to be the best opportunity of your lifetime. It's going to be a generational opportunity. So I think people who study, they take advantage of this, and they are really, setting your goals. And don't set your goals on January 1st. You're going to fail, right? Set your goals now of what you're going to do next year. So create a plan. Like I have this notebook that I keep. I haven't even been going out this year. I have a whole notebook that I'm tracking on my plans for next year, what I'm going to do next year. So what are you writing down in your journal? That's really important.
What advice will you give to those who are listening now based on what you have said? Talking about people losing jobs, but also saying that we are not going to see any uptrend on the markets, on crypto, really. How does one now prepare for 2023 based on what you've just said?
Sure. So, just one advice that applies to everybody, right, across the board, is be a man or woman of integrity. Be a person of integrity, meaning do what you said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it, right? And as simple as that. And just think about how much your life will be better if you just did the things you said you're going to do and you completed them when you said you're going to do them. So be a person of integrity, because, again, if you're in a job right now, the best way to ensure you're going to keep your job to give it your all and do everything right on time and contributing more to the organization than the bare minimum that's asked, right? A lot of people just focus on doing their work and leaving, but the people who are going to keep their jobs are the ones that are contributing to the business in other ways outside of their current job, right? And as far as investing is concerned, people should sit down, right? Make a list of, okay, this is the amount of money, let's say, I want to put into the markets, stock market, cryptocurrency, whatever it is. You decide how much amount you want to put in. Then you do some research, make a list of all the things that you would want to buy. For majority of the people, I would not even recommend trying to pick what's going to be the best stock or best cryptocurrency. Just put in the stock market as a whole, your country's market, wherever you live in. That's the best advice I can give you, especially because it's down 30-35% already. Historically, 40 to 50% is kind of the max, and then we go right back up again. So if you're buying now, it's actually a really good time for the next 10 years, in my opinion. As far as cryptocurrencies, focus on serious cryptocurrencies. Don't focus on, Dogecoin or, Shiba coin or this random cryptocurrencies that keep coming up. Those are all jokes. Don't focus on that. Focus on the big players like Ethereum. Most importantly, Algorand. Algorand is a cryptocurrency that I own, and that's the only one that I think will eventually make it through this so-called winter.
What about Ripple? You said don't focus on all these. What about Ripple? What about Cardano?
Cardano, so Cardano ADA, that's gonna eventually, that's my guess, is gonna eventually merge with Algorand, because the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of Cardano, left and joined Algorand, and they're gonna try to potentially merge. But Cardano is the reason it's keep on going down is because the technology is not as fast as a lot of people expected it to be, and it's not really decentralized to a certain extent. So there's other cryptocurrencies that are performing in terms of the technological performance, perform way better. So Algorand is one that's focusing on big projects. Like a lot of these companies, like let's say even Cardano, Ethereum, they're focusing on the retail investors, like selling NFTs, small businesses. Algorand is one that's Italy just made his promise. All of the Italy currencies are going to be built eventually on Algorand. So they're actual government use cases, right? In Nigeria, they're using Algorand to the whole country's patents and copyright, all are going to be stored on Algorand blockchain. So those are big projects, right? Argentina is doing something with Algorand where agriculture can be conducted through Algorand. And if you're making donations or payments, it's all going to be structured. So that to me seems more like real actual uses than like NFTs or digital art. And that's where I think this one will come out ahead. As far as Ripple, XRP, that is still a good one. The problem with that is the SEC, right? Security and Exchange Commission in the US. There's a lot of lawsuits going on. There's a lot of court cases going on. And the founders of Ripple and stuff, they've done some unethical things in the past, which is why I'm personally staying away. I really believe that I think Algorand is going to be the next cryptocurrency of the future, but it's going to take at least 2025 for these things to come back. I think no cryptocurrencies will ever come back until 2024, 2025. So next year, they're not going to come back. It's going to be 2024, 2025. So I think the ones that I think are good are Ethereum and Algorand. I wouldn't really buy anything else.
And do you know time is the enemy? Time is the enemy. And I'm going to try to push in just 2 or 3 because I'm receiving so many questions already. People are being more specific. I don't know how we're going to do this. Maybe you'll come back some other time. But look, you say Algorand. Yes. But the question is, at what level should one start on, or where should one start if they really want to hit it well. For those who have prepared themselves and they've kept something, they do have something to spend on the side. That is on Algorand. And then the second question is, I'm just going to give you these two and then I'll reserve one for just before we end the show. The second one is your counsel is people should focus on the stock market of their own countries, their own local stock markets. Now, with that being said, how do they get started there? At what level? Like in layman's terms, Anmol?
Sure. So I'll give you an example of the U.S. market because I'm not too familiar with international markets. But let's take the U.S. stock market, right? Currently, it's down 35% for this year, right? If you take a look at historically, every time it goes down 35, 45%, it's always come back. Every single time. Always. Never has not come back, right? Stock market is higher than what it was the previous year. And it's always been higher. So if they buy, let's say the NASDAQ or the US Stock Exchange, and they have a long time frame, not a short-term get-rich. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is something you take an account, you take an amount of money, and you keep growing it, right? Keep growing it slowly and slowly. You compound returns. And if people do that correctly, and maybe they're putting in small amounts of money every month, let's say they get a paycheck, right? Your paycheck is $10,000, whatever it is. Take 10% of that and automatically put it in the market. Don't even look at it. If you do that through your lifetime, you will be a millionaire guaranteed eventually in a long enough time frame. So I think people need to focus on long-term gains rather than short-term. I want to hit it big with one crypto. I think that's not the right approach. As far as when to buy, right now I think it's a great time to buy because stock market is down 35, 40%. Most cryptocurrencies are down 80, 90%. There's not a lot more they can go down, right? So it's a good point to buy if you believe that they're going to come back, which I think they will come back, but it's going to take 1 to 2 years minimum for them to come back. So don't expect you're going to buy and it's just going to suddenly come back next year. It's going to take a while because there's a lot of things going on in the markets. And as far as cryptocurrencies, I think it's a really good time to start buying. But what people want to do is they don't want to buy all of it at once. Let's use an example. You have $10,000. You want to buy a cryptocurrency. Don't buy $10,000 worth of cryptocurrencies today, right? Because it will probably go down. So what you want to do is divide your position into 4 or 5. So instead of buying $10,000 at once, let me buy $2,500 right now. Let me buy $2,500 next month. So as it's going down, you're constantly buying, but your average price is still matching the price. So by the time it's ready to go back up, you'll be in a good position. But if you bought it, let's say all today, and it goes down again, now just for it to come back, you'll only break even. You're not going to make any money. So buy small amounts in increments and don't try to time the bottom. It's impossible to time the bottom. You just have to pick and choose and slowly put money in and just average your way into the position.
I must say, Algorand is definitely something to watch and pray about if you want to pray. What about Santama? Santama?
What's that one? I don't know.
Santama, let me spell it for you because it could be my pronunciation.
Is it Solana? Solana?
Not Solana. It's Saitama.
I have not heard about that, which probably tells you should probably not be investing in that.
All right, you talk about Solana. What about Solana?
So Solana is the same thing. It went up quite a lot. I think from $0 to like $300 or something like that. But the problem was it was a beneficiary of the bubble, right? Everything went up last year. Every single thing went up last year. But the problem with Solana is that the network, if you look at cryptocurrency, is very congested, right? It's not decentralized. A lot of the funds are held by hedge fund managers. So it defeats the whole purpose of cryptocurrency, right? And also keeps going down. Like Solana's network keeps having outages, network is down, you can't process any transactions. How do you build a future of finance on something that keeps going down, right? Whereas Algorand has never, ever went down. Even Cardano has gone down, but Algorand's never went down. So anyways, this is not financial advice. I'm not asking anybody to buy or sell anything. Do your own research, do your own due diligence. But that's the one that I own.
we will have to really talk to you and get you back here, because 30 minutes is just never enough, and we're at the tail end now. And someone is asking a question. Let me see this one. So while I look at the question they've just sent me now, if anyone wants to continue the conversation with you and learn more, where do they go to? How do they connect with you? And are you open to having conversations with people from different parts of the world? Because the world has gone digital and virtual. So for our listeners and viewers who want to know more about you.
Yeah, I think the best place would be Twitter or Instagram. My username is same on both Twitter and Instagram. My username is Delta90, DELTANINETY. So that would be the best way. I always keep posting my market thoughts and my analysis and stuff like that on my Twitter. And Instagram is also another good place they can find me. But if they're interested in learning more about the stock market and how to learn, how to get involved, then the best place for that would be LiveTraders.com.
Right. So that website again is LiveTraders.com. All the links on the description. If anything is missing, please do ask for it and it will be given. Look, there's just so much you have shared, I mean, anyone who has been listening here today can really walk away and really have a change life altogether with just a few things. And remember, you have to also do your own research. Anmol, before I let you go, what will be your very last words to everyone listening now, those who will listen later, those who will watch this later and catch it on much later? What advice would you give them?
I think my advice would just be to, if you're looking to get into any of this, really learn first, because a lot of people make the mistake of opening an account, putting money in, and I just want to push the button. I want to trade. I'm so excited. It's the wrong way to do about it. Like, really learn this. It's a business. It's a profession. Try to learn a lot. And then second thing, which I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is be a person of integrity, right? 2023 is coming up. 2022 is pretty much over. So if this year did not go exactly as you wanted it to go, and you want next year to be better, then be better, right? Do things differently. Don't do the same things, because if you do the same things you did this year, you're going to get the same results next year, right? So do things a little bit differently, learn more skills, build more good habits, right? And then be a person of integrity. When you say you're going to do something, just do it. And you finish it also when you said you were going to finish it. So if you do that, I think you'll be really happy with your results next year.
Yeah. Be a person of integrity. Do what you said you will do. Finish it when you said you will finish it. I think that is the challenge for 2023. And he says that's exactly what you need for next year. Thanks a gazillion times, Anmol. I'm going to be in contact with you. We are going to be in contact with you to see how you can return as early as next year, because there's so much to pull from you and there's so much to learn from you. What a masterclass in such a short space of time. That website again is LiveTraders.com, but is also on Twitter and very active on Twitter and Instagram. Check all those platforms out and feel free to ask when you get stuck. Thanks a gazillion times to you, Anmol Singh, for sharing your life. You just did exactly that. You have shared your life with everybody. And what will be your parting shots as we go now? Anmol?
No, I think it was great chatting with you, and thanks for having me on your podcast. And I wish all the best of success, health, wealth, love, and happiness to you and your audience.